Yes, she was. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. When I didn't know where to go, she. When I didn't know what to say, she. I didn't understand that she. But you still covered me, she. But you still covered me, she. You are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I could have lost my children. I could have lost my children. Yeah, Lord. Yes, you are. I told Pastor that I had a rough couple of weeks. And I didn't come and I felt like something was sitting on me. I felt depressed. I didn't have no one to talk to. I felt like nobody understood me. But when I called on the name of Jesus, when I called on the name of Jesus, see, I'm covering away, but it's not on my record when I go back home. I have to deal with the shame that I came on. But when I decided to get on my knees and seek his face, no matter if I understood it, no matter if I didn't get my answer, I still seek his face and God, I come and tell him, you are awesome. You are awesome. Yes, Lord, you saved me. 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 Lord, you saved me. Yes, Lord, you want to worship him on this one. You want to worship him on this one. Don't let this time pass by, God. Visit us here right now, Jesus. In the name of Jesus. We want you to rain on us. We want you to rain on us. Come on in the room, Jesus. 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 We invite you in, Jesus. We open up our hearts, Jesus. We surrender our yes to you, Jesus. Oh, we give you a yes, Jesus. Yes, Jesus. Yes to your will, Jesus. Yes to your way, Jesus. Yes. You've been good to me, better than I picture myself. You've been good to me, Jesus. 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 Oh, tell who can stand for us when we got oh Lord, that great name is Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, we have the victory. Come on, open up your mouth, open up, come on, let's have it. His name is sin. I'm going to sing it till I know. His name is sin. His name is sin. His name is sin. Precious. We call you. We call you. We call you. We call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. And we call you Savior. We call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Yes, Lord, we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Yes, Lord, we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Something happens when I call on the name of Jesus. We call you Jesus. The deliverance happens when I call on the name of Jesus. Yeah. Healing happens when I call on the name of Jesus. We call you, 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 Jesus. We call you, 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 Lord, we call you, Jesus. We call you, we call you, we call you, Jesus. We call you Savior. 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 We call you save my mind, Jesus. Save my soul, Jesus. We call you have your way, Jesus. Make me holy. We call you. We call you. We call you, Jesus. We call you. Jesus, in the name of Jesus. We call you 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 Jesus. Nobody like the name of Jesus. We call you 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 healer. We call you. We call you. We call you healer. Say we call you. We call you. We call you. We call you healer. Say we call you healer. Say we call you healer. We call you healer. Healer. We call you healer. We call you healer. We call you healer. We call you healer. Say I tell you, if you need a healing in the stereo, people lift your hands and say, we call you. We call you healer. Healer, 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 healer. We call you healer. We call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Come on, you want to lift your hands and worship him and say, we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Said we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Said we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Said we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Said we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Somebody need to call him Savior. Say we call him Savior. We call him Savior. Say we call him Savior. We call him Savior. 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 We call him Savior. Savior. He's my Savior. We call him Savior. Ooh, Savior. We call him Savior. Savior. We call him Savior. Yes, we call him Savior. We call him Savior. Come on, lift your hand and say we call him Jesus. Come on, we call him, we call him, we call him. We call him Jesus. Come on, two more times. Say we call you Jesus. We call you Jesus. Come on, next time. Say with everything you got. Say we call you Jesus. Come on. Come on, all over the room. Come on, all over the room. If we could just get 3 grateful people. We could just 3 grateful people. We'll take off here. I know some of y'all, you're doing it on your own, you're doing it by yourself, but with my 3 of us, ain't nobody but God doing this. Only God can do it. But 3 people, if you would just come on, if I could just get 3. We'll go up from here. We'll go up from here. We'll go up from here. If I could just get 3. If I could just get 3 people. If I could just get 3 grateful. Grateful. 3 grateful people right here that will worship Him. Nobody but you, God. Nobody can do it like you can do it. Nobody can do it like you can do it. If I ever said, nobody can do it like you can do it. Only you can do it. Only you can do it. Oh, only you. Only you can do it. Come on, lift your hands up if you need a miracle. Come on, you need a breakthrough. Say only. Only you can do it. Come on, lift your hands. It should have faith. Come on, only you. Only you can do it. Only you. Only you. Somebody got got a situation. Somebody got a problem. You know it's out of your hands. Only you. It's out of my hands. I can't fix it. I tried. I've got no weary. Only God. Only God. Only God. Only God. Only God. Only God. Only you can do it. Oh my God. Only you can do it. Only you can do it. Come on, clap your hands all over this room. Come on, thank you for it. Come on. All over this room. Come on, I need somebody to get it up. Only you. Only you can do it. Yeah. Come on, clap your hands all over this room. Oh, yes, there's a worship in this room. Come on, there's a worship. I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. Anyone that's watching online, we can reach you today. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully this message and this word and this worship experience is going to be a blessing to you today. There are ways that you are able to give today to Keystone Main Grace and Worship Center, a ministry that we're thankful and grateful for having you on today. And God bless all of you. Amen. Somebody come on, bless him in the room. Amen. Somebody in this place, I need you to give God only he can do it praise. If I can get 2 people, I'm going to make 3. But if I can get 2 more to join me, I came here to dance my life back. I don't know what I'm going to do. I came here to praise my life back. When I leave here today, there going to be no missing pieces. I came here with expectation. I know my baby is due, but I need a push. So everybody calling me here. And nobody came to praise him. Come on, look across the room and tell somebody. You can put your mask down and tell them the only thing I know to do from here is just to praise it. That's good enough for me. Only thing I want to do is I know I got 3 more weeks. But guess what? I'm going to make it count. Y'all ready? Bring that shot on this. But just look at somebody you can find in the room and just shake your head like this right here and say that last hit, the last hit. You just don't know what it is. You just don't know. I ain't playing with you. You don't see what the last hit. I don't even supposed to be here. The last hit. Supposed to have taken me out. Yeah. Suicide almost got my mind. Depression almost. I'm gonna give you time, but that's all we got. Almost. And say, God blocked it. Get up, take your seat. 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 I know some of y'all are just blockers. I'm trying to hold myself. Yes. you all, watch this. God had to talk to death for you. Because you were right there, but God had to talk to death for you. Yeah. He had to talk to death for you. He told death to behave. Y'all ain't got no kind of break because it really came to take you out. But I want to encourage about seven of you to let you know what this is. There's still more left in you. Come on, you still got some stuff. And because it was a time, watch this, I'm right on time. Y'all ain't come for no word, y'all. Come on. I said because it was a time, I'm right on time. Because God redeemed the time. Y'all, come on, take this stuff. I'm going to preach. I got to get this out of me. I got to get this out of me. I only got 2 praisers in the room. If I haven't said anything, all right. Look at somebody that says, if you've been through what I've been through, you can't play with it. That's why you stand around looking around. But see, if you've been through what I've been through, watch this. Just on this week, you can't play with it. You can't play with it. This kind of stuff is dangerous. Yeah. This kind of stuff is dangerous. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, you don't want to mess with me, I'm too dangerous. When you've been through the stuff that I've been through, when you dealt with things that I've dealt with, and tell them you got to bounce back like this. The setback was nothing but a spring. Sunday. The setback wasn't nothing but a spring. To put me in a position of comeback. This time when I come back, I'm not holding back. Y'all understand? It's all or nothing. Y'all understand that? Yeah, tell somebody I got determined in my last test. Because it could have been my last test. How you don't know God might have been testing you to bring you to this day called appointment. God told me to tell 8 of you, watch this, he's getting ready to do new things for you. God told me to tell the 8, watch this, you don't need another problem, you just need another praise. I'm going to go ahead and preach this here. If I was in the city right now, we'd have went up right there. Y'all waiting on the piccolo got you back up on your feet. Look at your neighbor and say, you don't need another problem, you just need another praise. Yeah, I got 99 problems and praise ain't one. You don't need another problem. What you need is another praise, because this may be the praise that gets your miracle. This may be the praise that, watch this, that breaks you out of the box. How do you know? Watch this. This may be the praise that bring on the millions. Let me go, come on, take your seat. Take your seat. Let me tell you. I can take off and preach from right there, because watch this. This atmosphere is conducive for your next move. Somebody. See, watch this. Watch this. What God is trying to do in this hour is get that junk and mess out of your spirit. I'm thinking church is about a monument. But real ministry is about a movement. That's why some of y'all been stuck for 30 years. But once you start getting movement in your mind, look at your neighbor and say, no more stucks. Come on, tell your neighbor, you can't stick me. Come on, no more stucks. Some places some of you thought you were smart enough to go into, you thought you could get out of it because, watch this, you got whipped. But you needed more than that whip. You needed to get with God. I'm preaching better than y'all responding. Yeah. You know, some people because, watch this, they are personality driven and they are a little educated on personality, and because they got a little bit, just enough book sense to hang themselves. Book sense versus Bible sense. Just enough sense, just enough education to hang yourself. Well, Lord, yeah, because watch this. What you don't know is I can have the education and I can have the degree. But what people are looking for now is experience. I got to get back to my desk. Yeah, you can just get fresh out of college with that person that got 10 years with the same degree. They looking for something. Look, we ain't got time to retrain you all over. We ain't got time to baby you back up all over again. Yeah, because some people think the kingdom and think church is about catering to you. That's why some of you can't put another foot in front of the other one now, because you're so used to somebody catering to you. But I want to let you know something right here. God is going to put you out there for a season to test and see what have you learned while you wanted to be catered to. You're going to have to put forth everything that you've been taught, everything that you've been given, everything that you have been imparted. You're going to have to use that. Real quickly, because I don't want to bore you. I'm determined now that, watch this, to get people where they need to be and where they're supposed to be in the kingdom. Therefore, watch this, I'm not a prophetic junkie. I gotta let everybody know that that's online. I don't give you stuff just to make you shout. Because when you get through shouting, watch this, in the church, and you don't hear the organ anymore, you don't hear the drum anymore. But the devil decides, watch this season or tomorrow around 1 p.m. to attack you when you're getting out of the bed, or when you get watch this, walking around in the kitchen, or when you get ready to go handle your business. Like, you ain't gonna have all of that. Sometimes you ain't gonna have no 3, 4, 5 hour prayer. Sometimes you just gotta open your mouth with some power and say, loose me. Y'all ain't ready to go in. Sometimes you have to open your mouth in the middle of adversity and say, you better loose my mind. You gotta open your mouth. Real quickly, I want to go here because I got to get this word out. I got to get this word out. And I want you to know, as I'm preaching this message to you and to those who are watching online, I want to let you know everything the devil said. Watch this, he's a liar. Come on, you need to know that. If you don't know
that, you have already failed. He's alive. Yeah, we're in a, watch this, we're in a generation of the voices. Of the voices. So many voices have went out. So many voices are there for me to listen to. So many voices are out. So many voices are there. We're in the hour of the voices. And all of those voices are not for me. Look at your neighbor and say, you better be careful of who and what you're listening to. Because even prophecy could be your demise. You better watch these immature. Watch this. And these uncircumcised prophets ministering and prophesying to you all of these great things and all these miraculous things. Watch this, and you're not going to do anything with it. The reason why God has to give you the same prophecy anyway is because, watch this, you're in rebellion. You did nothing with the last prophecy. Y'all ain't talking back to me. Somebody shout this word with me real quickly. You don't know what's getting ready to break in the heavens for you. Shout this word with me real quickly. Transition. Let's go to the book. Let's go to the book. I'm so happy and so glad to see all of you here today. If you give me just 45 minutes to an hour, I'm not responsible for what happens after that. Let's go to Joshua. Somebody put your hands on your, come on your belly. So I'm closer. I'm so close. I'm closer now than I ever been before. Come on, real quickly. Let's go to the book of Joshua. Real quick, let's go to the book of Joshua, the first chapter, and I want to set a foundation for this word on today in Joshua 1. Joshua 1 on today as we talk about transition. I know so many people when we released that flyer, so many people were wishing and thought that word transition was because of my death. Yeah, because now when people are putting transition, that means that they have transitioned, they've gone on. But what they don't know is, watch this. This is just the beginning of my life. Listen, see, watch this. You can't get bored or neither bear against what has already happened in your life. You should be so excited about what's getting ready to happen next. You should be leaping. You should be leaping. You worry about everybody and everything else that didn't get here with you. It wasn't meant for them to. I got to get up in this thing. This thing is bothering me. I get up. Let's go real quickly. Joshua 1. And I want to begin at verse number. Let's see where I want to start. Sometimes this stuff gets so good to you don't know where to start. Okay, let's see. Boom. All right, I'm going to Joshua 1, and I'm going to be reading from the NIV. You ready for me? Let's go. Joshua 1. We are talking about transition. Give me 45 minutes with you, and I have to go. And the Bible reads, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide. Now, Joshua was Moses' right-hand man. It was Moses' aide. Now it says here, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to get. Somebody after today, you're about to cross over into something that God has been promising you for years. You're getting ready to enter into a day, watch this, that God is no longer going to have you talking about it, but it's going to manifest right before your very eyes. He's talking to the people. He's telling them, now look, Moses is dead. And Moses was a leader that led many people out of bondage, led many people out of Israel. It was millions and millions of people out of Egypt. But what he said to them now, even though Moses is dead, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to leave you by yourself. Get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give them to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot. You better watch your feet. Because your feet, sometimes your feet has a tendency of taking you to places, watch this, that causes miracles to, watch this, habitually happen in your life. Breakthroughs just happen. Favor just pops up. Where you set your foot, as I promised Moses, I'll give you that. Your territory will extend from the desert of Lebanon and from the great river, the Euphrates, and the Hittite country to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. Just for a moment, I want to talk about, amen, transition. Now, I want to define this word for you before I get into it a little bit deeper, because sometimes I have a tendency to get so deep, I can't come back out of it. So I want to give it to you now before I leave. Transition is this: changing from one state or condition to the next. It's a process or a period of time of change, a transformation of crossing over or to pass. And for about 5 people that will grab a hold to this, I don't really know what you've been going through the last year or the last 6 months, but the Lord told me, because this is graduation season, the Lord told me to tell 5 of you all, you passed the test. I don't know what you've been dealing with. I don't know what you've been dealing with, but some of y'all have been dealing with an enemy. And that enemy has been trying to get you to break and just lose your cool, lose your character, and just go off of the deep end. Come on here. And he really wanted you to crash. But I heard the Lord say to tell 5 of you, you passed the test. We all can see, and and those who are in the kingdom. And I want to say this to you: every person in this room, man, woman, boy, and girl, has a spirit. And if every one of you has a spirit, then you have, watch this, a conscience. We're supposed to. You're supposed to have a conscience. And in that conscience, sometimes, that conscience and along with your spirit is an awareness. It's almost like an alert system. And for those in the kingdom, I know God has been, he's been allowing me to sense and see this, so I'm going to say it. For those in the kingdom, watch this, you can sense something about to happen. I'm talking about after you, those who have bled and cried, those have seemed like you have been broken beyond repair. Watch this, those who have been hurt, wounded, and speared by the enemy and his weapons. And it's bad, because you may say it's bad. And it's bad. I can't talk to you about it without you telling somebody else about what I said. No. It's bad that I gotta go through this by myself and can't really, watch this, have a confidant. I can't depend on to really just release all that I'm feeling. Somebody shout transition. Transition also sometimes means from a place of death, watch this, to another place called life. It's a transition from here to earth, or to go to, we wish or hope or pray to heaven. Amen. There are only 2 places that you're going to be able to go. One place is a place of rest. The other place is a place called torment. Amen. And that is either heaven or hell for the transition. Some of you right now, I wouldn't even like to call it transition for you because you don't really know what it means. But I like to call it between a hard place and a blessing that you are in. You're just in a place called temporary. Sometimes when I get the opportunity to fly, sometimes I don't have a direct flight. And when I don't have a direct flight, sometimes I have to take the plane from where I'm departing from. And in between the arrival is called a connecting flight. We have to land in another city. And sometimes when you have to land in another city, sometimes it's not all of a sudden that you can get off of that plane and get on another one. Sometimes you have to sit and wait for a while until until that plane arrives Watch this. And they don't want you to get on it any kind of way. They first got to clean it. And then after they clean it, they gotta gas it back up in order for the next group of people to get on. Sometimes when you're sitting there, sometimes it even takes hours. I remember one time I had a layover for about 10 hours. The weather was bad, and every time we thought that we were getting ready to take off on one plane, something would happen with that one. Then I have to go back and sit for hours. Yeah, but see, I was just in a transition. But I knew, watch this, I knew I wasn't going to miss it because I didn't lose my place at the gate. But see, some people miss their next, watch this, some people miss their connection because they decide to get up and move. Because they decide to get up, well, sometimes you get hungry in the airport, you know. And sometimes they decide to get up and move because they get hungry. Yeah, and I want to throw this in there because I'm trying to deal with this message. No, you don't just get hungry, but some people miss their connection and they miss the transition because, watch this, they get other type of appetites that get them out of the way and get them out of place before they make the connecting flight. Somebody say transition. But we all know, amen, if we stay there in that place, if we stay there, that plane is coming to, watch this, because they give you a gate. See, they're leaving from C4. Come on here. You're leaving from C4, so what happens is you can't be at C6 and think that you're going to make that flight. You got to stay at C4. Come on, look at your neighbor, so you got to stay in place. Yeah, because a lot of times God going to test you to see what are you going to do if I'm late. Yeah, what are you going to do if I don't show up on time? Like I said, what are you going to do? And not just what are you going to do, watch this, but what are you going to do and what are you going, what is going to come out of you when the pressure is on? Yeah, this is right. You know, there was a man in the Bible called Job. The Bible said he was perfect and he was upright. He was a well-off man. He was rich. He was wealthy. And the Bible said that the enemy came and it took his family away. Storm came and it took his family away. It took all his livestock away. He was left with nothing. But oh, crazy wife. The wife tells him, no offense to crazy wives in here, but the wife said, Job. The Bible said he was sick. The boils came on his skin. He was so sick that the flesh fell. It fell off of his bones. So watch this. So what she did was, she said, Job, y'all better be careful with this. Why don't you just curse God and die? Somebody in this room, in the middle of transition, sometimes the enemy has his way of angering you. Sometimes the enemy has his way of frustrating you. Sometimes the enemy has his way of pushing up against you. Yeah, come on, making you incomplete, making you feel complacent, making you feel out of place when you know that you're in place. He has his way of start touching and bothering stuff that really he wants you, but he tries to get stuff next to you to get under your skin and get next to you. Yeah, so what do you want? You got to be careful that when you come to your place of transition where you're about to shift over into your next blessing or your place of breakthrough, that you don't allow the enemy to, watch this, to get a hold of you and you curse your own blessing. Look at your neighbor and say, don't curse yourself. Yeah, you got too many other people trying to do that already. Don't curse yourself. Don't curse yourself. Because everything that God has planned for you is great. Everything that God has planned for you, watch this, is next level. Next level living. I want to talk to somebody online over here. Next level living. Next level breakthrough. Next level next status that you're getting ready to walk into. That's why you got to be careful of what kind of atmosphere you create. Some of you, watch this. Some of you, you're not stopping yourself, but the atmosphere and the environments that you walk into are stopping you. Transition. I'm in transition. And sometimes I feel for people because, watch this, they catch you in the middle of transition. So in the middle of transition, sometimes because when people are not mature, they tend to judge you in the middle of transition. No, I don't have that yet. See, they forget the yet. You better look at your neighbor, you better watch that yet. I don't have it yet. I don't have the ring yet. I don't have the house yet. I don't have the building yet. I ain't got no yet praises in here. Yeah. I don't have the money yet. I haven't planned the wedding yet. Yeah, I haven't planned the funeral yet. Y'all don't want to wedding? I give you a funeral. I haven't planned the funeral yet. I haven't signed the papers yet. I can go on and on and on there because I'm in transition. Look at your neighbor and say, be careful how you judge me in transition. That's why God is preaching this word today, because he wants to tell the congregation today, when you leave this room, watch this, act like you already got it. Look like you already walking in it. Come on, position yourself to already. Come on, you gotta start playing the part before the part comes. That's how you know I can practice it for this. This ain't nothing new. I can like this. No, I woke up like this. This God had me in training. Look at your neighbor and say, transition hit different when you've been prepared for it. Transition looks different when you've been prepared for it. Your transition, watch this, transition is good for you. You know what David said? David said, like, when David was in transition, when David was in transition, you know, he had part of his scripture, part of a place in scripture said, you know what, David opened his mouth. He had to let his haters know, had to let people know, and he had to let everybody else know. He know. See, stop telling. Why don't some of y'all stop trying to be news broadcasters? People know what they did. Why you gotta broadcast it? Mind your business. Why you gotta broadcast? They know they failed. They know they messed up. Why you gotta broadcast it? I'm telling you, if you gotta broadcast it, you're the wrong people to be around. Come on here. You just a critic. But David said it like this. David said it like this. David said it like that. It was good for me. Somebody gonna catch that in a minute. When he was in his transition, it was good for me that I was afflicted. Because before I was afflicted, I went astray. Sometimes affliction and transition will make you think. Yeah, sometimes affliction and transition will make you think about what could have been. And then when it doesn't make you think about what could have been, it makes you think about what would have been. Then after all of that, it starts making you think, now what am I going to do about it? See, some of you going to be right in transition next year because you ain't going to do anything about it. But I need to prophesy about 5 people that when you leave here, you get ready to bust the biggest move you ever made in your life. Yeah, I need to prophesy to you. Watch this. You ain't seen nothing yet because your next move is going to be your greatest move. Your next step is going to be your biggest. Transition. There are 2 things that you can do when you're in the middle of a transition. And that is react or participate. See, everybody that loves to react, they ain't saying nothing right there. Yeah, some of you, the enemy just wants you to react. Because he knows if you react, he knows that you have the capability of messing up your own plan, messing up your vision. You have no idea how many people that you come in contact with when you're doing something and it begins to be lying. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. This is not hidden. Come on. Social media has been the new go-to. You can't hide nowhere. You can't hide nowhere. There's nowhere you can hide. There are cameras. There are cameras everywhere. Look at your next thing. You better watch those cameras. They don't have cameras. They ain't said nothing over here. They don't have cameras over here. They about to get caught. They about to get busted. They ain't got no cameras over here. Y'all must got them old flip phones. Y'all got them Blackberries. They got cameras on the phone. You better watch them cameras. They got cameras everywhere now. Come on, your wife's got cameras in the house. You don't even know it. You lying. They don't even know. You got already caught you. Yes. There are 2 things that you can do. So Jameer, in transitioning, that is react to it or participate in it. I don't know what your frame of mind is. But in this season of my life, I'm not reacting to everything. Now, I may respond, watch this, but I'm not going to react. See, can I tell you one of the most dangerous people in the world, one of the most dangerous person to be around? The person that does the first thing that comes to their mind. Lord, Pastor, I got to move out of my house. I got to get a divorce. I can't have no more friends. That's all people you around. That's what they do. The first thing that comes to your mind, watch this. If you tend to do that often, then you're not a person, watch this, that knows how to properly rationalize situations. Yeah. They teach you that in the military. You got to pay attention to the details. Just because somebody looks suspect doesn't mean that they are a suspect. Therefore, we need discernment. If you're going to respond and if you're going to react, you have to know what to react to and how to react. Therefore, watch this, your response has to be right. When God gives you a word, we should not be reacting, we should be participating in it. When God has blessed you, there should not be a reaction, there should be a response. When God is saying to do something, when he's giving instructions, there should not be a reaction, but there also should be a participation in it. I believe it was Bishop Paul Morton. He wrote a song, God, whatever you're doing in the sea. Some of y'all miss it, you already got it there. You're too late. Don't do it. I know it gets good till you have to stop. I've been like that too. You get so good, you have to stop and get it. I know. Yeah. Whatever. Look at your name and say, I don't want to miss nothing that God is doing. Whatever you're doing in this season, don't do it without me. I need to participate. Yeah, you ready? You better watch those people that never participate. At least watch this. If you got troubles, at least you can bring your own bag. BYOB. If you can bring your own bag, but watch those people. They want to come drink up all your liquor. They want to drink up all your wine. Or smoke up all your dough. Wait a minute. I'm in church. Yeah, they want to come eat up all your ham. At least they could have bought the pineapple. They could have bought the apple. They could have bought something. They could have bought the glaze to go on it. They want to come eat up all your rice. Oh, get to the house. Oh, you know what? I forgot that gravy. Don't want to participate. Yeah, people come to eat, but they don't bring nothing to participate in the meal. Let me prophesy about 10 of you that's ready this year. I heard the Lord say, yesterday was your last day being used like that. And you've been giving up yourself, and sometimes because you're good-hearted and because you got the heart of gold, you've been giving not just of yourself, but sometimes you've given everything, but there's been no reciprocation. There's been no reciprocation. I was talking to this gentleman, this well-known gentleman the other day, and we were conversing about some stuff, and they said, you know what, Shipman? He said, whatever you do, don't lose, watch this, your authenticity. You are rare. Okay. Because when I watch you for years, you've never changed. You've been the same for years. You've never changed. Don't trade your destiny. See, some people are trading in the wrong stuff. Many of us, look at your name. How did you get here? How did you arrive? We're talking about transition here. How did you arrive to the place that you're in today? Somebody say, I'm broke. I'm just as broke. I'm broke. Capital B. Capital R. O. K. It ain't no K. Now the E is on. You only E. Broke. Watch this. How did you get broke? There you go. How did you get there? Somebody say, you know what? I never thought I would be single today. Oh, Lord. I never thought I would be single today. And I'm single. Yeah, I gotta work here. When people get quiet, you thank you. I gotta work. I thought that I would be married by now, have at least 10 kids, planning for 10 more. Y'all were sitting on me, quiet. At least I would have a house by now. How did you get here to being lonely? And y'all know I say this every Sunday. Forgive me if you get offended. Forgive me. Forgive me. I know you're not gonna do it because I know you're bitter. But listen, if you single, if you by yourself now, please let it be because you want to, because anybody can get anybody now. If you can't get nobody now, you showed up low balling. You balling with a golf ball. Because let me tell you something. Yeah, well, how did you get lonely? How did you get here? How did you get here like some of you? How did you get here sick, broken? How did you get here? Oh, maybe you're blessed today. Maybe you're blessed. You look blessed. Some of you look blessed. That's with your mask on. I don't know what you look like with your mask on. You look blessed. You look blessed. You're blessed. You're blessed. But how did you get here? Now, when I began to look at this, when God started taking me deeper into transition, somebody shout transition. I started asking God, and He started asking me, talking to me. Some people have got here where they are. Watch this. By default and not by plan. Can I go deeper? Can I go deeper here? Can I go deeper? Listen, you're not going to fool me. You're looking at me like that, but you're not going to fool me. Your mom and dad did not plan you. You ended up here by default. They just get their groove on. Y'all call it something else. I can't say that in the pulpit. You catch me after service. But they were just getting their groove on. You weren't playing. They did not sit down and say, you know what, we're going to have a baby in 91, we're going to have a baby in 92, we're going to have a baby in 34, we're going to have a baby, I got to cover all the years, we're going to have a baby in 66, we're going to have a baby in 82, we're going to have a baby in 97. No, your parents didn't plan you. You got here by default. Somebody said, I don't believe that. Well, why are you so surprised when you took pregnancy test? Because listen, there's a lot of cheering going on when people are playing. Oh, shoot. Y'all didn't say that. You changed me 2 O's. I know. Say what? Well, you got to take another one. 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 This is like COVID. You got to take 2 or 3 tests. Wait a minute. Something false. Yeah, you got here by default. It wasn't planned. But can I tell you something? Right here in the middle of transition, let me tell you the value of something being planned and you being prepared for that plan. If you know that God is getting to do something in your life, if you know that your life is going to change, watch this, you're making preparations up ahead. You're putting things in divine order in your life. You're not trying to do no more, but you're not trying to do any less. Come on here. You're praying and you're believing and you're putting the proper things in place because you don't want to have just another setback. I was at the store the other day and I took my truck there to get an oil change. And as I took my truck there to get an oil change, the gentleman walked in. He was very upset. He was angry. And he was talking to the serviceman there, the technician. He was telling them, he was really upset. He was raging and said, y'all did the wrong, y'all missed. And he said, look, I'm driving a Mercedes. He had to make that evident. I'm driving a Mercedes. So what they did was, now watch this is going to bless you. What they did was they put too much oil. They put too much oil in the car, Brother Tyrone. So when they checked it, watch this. When they checked it, they said, oh, you're right. Watch it. They were just playing it by ear because that particular Mercedes don't have a dipstick. It's all electronic. Watch that luxury. They don't have a dipstick, so you can't just read it with the natural eye. And they went back and checked and said, you know what, we put too much oil in. So they had to let some oil out. Some of you, that's what's going on in your life right now in the middle of transition. You have overfilled your engine, and what I'm simply saying is, watch this, you have too many irons in the fire that you cannot manage. And a lot of people get that way. Look at your next. A lot of people get that way because they always trying to prove something to others. But I need to talk to 5 people in here and say, no, I ain't got nothing to prove. I have nothing to prove. I'm just going to live my life. Yeah, the engine was overfilled, and what happens is if the engine is overfilled with the oil, it does more damage to the engine just as it would if there was no oil. Watch this. Some of you got to be careful that you're not taking on too much. When I tell you too much is given, much is required. Yeah. The more that you walk into, the more you're going to have to give. Let me show you something. See, people get confused by being up here. Sometimes I wish I was out there where you are. Because being up here, watch this, I have to become more of a servant. It's not about being served. I have to become more of a servant than more to be served. Too much is given. Watch this. And some of you got stuff written down, and you wrote it down in ink that cannot be erased because you were trying to prove something. You're trying to make a point about your life. But at the same time, you got to remember it's going to take something for you to become that. And a lot of people aren't, watch this, they're willing to receive something to be great, but they're not willing to give anything to be. They dropped off on me. They dropped off on me. They dropped up on me. They dropped up on me. Yeah. If you're going to be great, it's going to take you giving something, not you always receiving something. Us men have it bad. Wave your hand. Come on. I know you're scared. 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 You think you'll never get no more. I know you're scared. I know you're scared. But us men, we have it bad. We have it bad, y'all. Because there's been a demand. There's been so many demands put on us. As a man, that we got to bring home the bacon. And when we do bring home the bacon slice, go back and get the pig. Put it back on. Yeah, we gotta bring. We can't bring 3 slices of bread. We have to bring the whole loaf. And when the loaf is not enough, go get the truck. Go get the sunbeam truck. Bring the whole truck. You coming up in here with a $35 check? Man, you ever came home with a check? You ever came home with a check? And she thought that check was going to be like $635. And that check was negative $635. You get your check, you hide the check. You hide the check in the truck. Because you don't want to show that check. You know if you show that check, come on here, you're going to. And the bills are past due. Come on, men. You ever lied and said you took care of a bill and then you turn around and you didn't take care of the bill in time and the bill came to the house? What did you do with that money? Y'all understand? See, women hide their money. They hide their money. They'll hide their money and they'll want the man to use his money all the time. And you're supposed to be the man. Yeah, I'm the man, but I have emotions, I have feelings, I have a heart, I have a life. You should treat me like I am human. Yeah, you married men, when you leave here today, go home and tell them you ain't getting them no more. You got to come up with something. Let's change this thing around. Come on here, you don't hold no power. Lord, forgive me, Lord. No, not change. No, I'm sorry, church. No, I got too many women here. I'm gonna miss my tithes and offer. No, I'm sorry, man. I'm going with them today. In the middle of transition, men, it's so many demands. Yeah, but see, let me help somebody out. If you have the demands that you have, you ought to be able to provide what you are demanding just as much as you're demanding it from that person. Don't let me buy you Gucci and you come home with Lucci for me. We going back to the store. We missing a level. Something wrong with that picture. Don't have me buying you nice gifts. I'm talking about reciprocation in transition. Don't see you find out who's really for you in transition. Don't have me buying you nice gifts. And I'm looking up under the tree and my name ain't even on the box. Reciprocation. Don't have me doing for you all the time. Come on here. Surprise me. Somebody said, well, that ain't how I was raised. But see, that's why we correcting your wrong today. So the rest of your life, you can live it and be happy. Because if you get that stuff deep rooted in your heart and deep rooted in your spirit, all it takes is one mess up, one seed. By the way you think. That's why those who are in transition, God is trying to develop them to get to a place that they can hear and see differently. Because just because you're in the middle of transition don't mean that life is over. It could be a new life is getting ready to begin. It's all in how you see it. It's all in how you see it. Well, my life ain't gonna never be anything. Watch this. It may have not, but what is it getting ready to become? It's all in how you see it. I was teaching something on live this week. Unfortunately, some of y'all won't be able to get that. Unfortunately, I feel sorry for you, but I was teaching it on live this week, and God had me teaching this thing. And he said to me, he said, take a look at what you've already been through. He said, he said, divide that into what you think you're getting ready to, watch this, not go through, but go to. See, some of you need to stop saying that, I'm going through. You need to change that to, I'm going to. Because you don't need, watch this, you don't need another repetition season. I need about 5 people to say, you know what, I ain't going through that no more. I've learned from that test. I've learned from that situation. I've learned from that circumstance. And watch this, I got to be careful how I respond, how I react, and even how I participate in my own pettiness. You know what's petty to me? Somebody say, you know what's petty to me? What's petty to me is how we are grown people and we don't act like grown people. Sister Ann, what's petty to me how we are grown people? Watch this, and we still. Do you know the number of people in this room that still pout? You said fix it. He gonna fix it. He gonna fix it. If you ask him to fix it, he gonna fix it. The Lord knows all about it. Do you know, you'll be surprised the number of people that are adults that still pout. How? Because they can't have their way. I mean, and willing, watch this, and he will be willing to not speak to you for 3 or 4 weeks in the same bed. That could be me. I'll be doing stuff on purpose. I'll be disconnecting the power. I'll be outside, disconnecting the power. I'll be hiding the keys. They wake up next morning, I change the refrigerator. I pour their favorite drink out, leave the bottle in the kitchen on the counter open. You drink my drink? No, I poured it out. Why do you do that? I just felt like it. Are you getting upset? Yeah, you'll be surprised the number of people that can still pout. Grown people still pout. You better be, watch this, grateful. Some of you, let me tell you something. You better be grateful that God told you no. Some of you, God looked up ahead, God looked down the road and said, if you stay in that relationship, if you don't change your if you don't change your attitude, if you don't change your spirit, if you don't get yourself together, if you don't start making plans for your tomorrow instead of embracing your yesterday. Somebody shout transition. And what we need to know is God is not the only one that is showing you stuff in this hour. You have to remember in the middle of transition, you become very vulnerable and you become very open. Because in the anticipation of something, you wanting something to happen, your spirit can become open to anything and anybody. Therefore, you are needing not just discipline over your flesh, but discipline over your mind, your heart, and your spirit. And we need to know that it's not all God that's showing you stuff. It could be a trap from the enemy by using a familiar spirit. See, when you're getting ready to shift from one place to the next, sometimes what's familiar with you, what's been familiar with you will start showing back up in your life. Sometimes those familiar spirits will start being nice all of a sudden. Oh, y'all ain't saying that to me. Sometimes those familiar spirits, watch this. And how do you know it's familiar? Because watch this, it's overly nice. You mess up when it's overly nice, you done something wrong. Y'all ain't saying that to me. When it's overly nice and overly participating and overly doing it and overly competing. Look at your name and say, when you're confident, there's no room for competition. But familiar spirit will make you want to compete. Familiar spirit will make you, watch this, become so familiar with you, it will bring back your yesteryears and your yesterdays in your life to try to make it seem like that was better. Somebody shout, the devil is a liar. Y'all didn't say that. Some of y'all didn't say that. Y'all said that like y'all miss Jimmy Mac. Jimmy Mac. Jimmy Mac. When are you? Jimmy got somebody else. Matter of fact, he got 2 or 3. Yeah, but you know that song, don't you? Yeah, see, familiar spirit will start showing up and start making you reminisce. And when you reminisce, if it brings back depression, if it brings back sadness, you're reminiscing in the wrong area. Because everything about your past should bring on a praise. God, I thank you that you brought me through that. I thank you that I didn't die like that. I thank you that you didn't allow the enemy to finish what he started in my life. I thank you that you brought me from this to that, and you'll continue to take me there. And I understand that he that has begun a good work. Some of you thought in the middle of transition, God quit on you, but that's when God really began on you, because he that has begun a good work. Transition. Some people in the middle of transition, this is my last one, get down to my close. I got 2 more. Some people in the middle of transition, what they do, because they are so vulnerable, they start giving exchanges. They start giving up stuff. They start giving themselves up. They start giving themselves in exchange. You start giving yourself to what you watch this, what feels good, but not God. Yeah, when a person begins to give in exchange for what is really valuable in their life, it just simply means these 2 words: sell out. Sold out. And whenever you sell out and you're sold out in anything, there is nothing else left for sale. They miss that. Yeah. See, when you're in a place of giving exchange, then you are in a place of bargaining. In other words, when you put yourself in a place like that spiritually, so then there is something that has enough to buy out your soul. That's what the Bible says in Mark 8:36. It says, what do it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Then it asks the question, so then what will a man give in exchange? What have some of you gained in exchange for your greatness? Yeah, that's about like trading something in and don't get nothing better. You got something worse. You know, some people like trade their men and trade their women in. You don't went from sugar. I can't say that online. You don't mess around. At least you won't go from sugar to sugar. At least you can go from Food Line sugar to Dixie Crystal. At least upgrade the sugar. that ain't for everybody. That's just for some people. Yeah, exchange. What are you giving in exchange? Some people are willing to sell out their birthright. Some people are willing to exchange, watch this, exchange and give God up for the world. Instead of give the world up for God. So then it asks the question, what will a man give in exchange for his soul? See, whenever you're sold out, then that means you're not for sale. And you, can I tell you this? You, somebody said me. You should never be any type of advertisement. Because when you start advertising, you start getting, watch this, you start getting bargain, you start getting, watch this, bids from everywhere. Yeah, you start getting bids from everywhere. And then when you're in a place of, watch this, and you're in a place of not selling, or you come to a place of selling in the middle of a transition, you got to be very careful that you don't settle in the desert. Wow. Yeah, because when you're vulnerable like that, and you watch this, you're selling, then you watch this, you start accepting just anything. Well, I'm tired of waiting. It's better to wait than later on to want and wish. Yeah. Don't be anxious. Don't be in a rush. Look at your neighbor and say, what are you in a rush for? What you in a rush for? Let me tell you something. I'm in the prime of my life. I'm living the best I ever lived. I thought I was doing something when I'm 30, but I got that juice now. Yeah. They ain't saying nothing. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I can't help if you lost your salt. I ain't lost nothing. I'm worse now than I was when I was 21. You better watch how you push up on me. I'm gonna be better than this tomorrow. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Touch your neighbor and tell your neighbor it's bad to lose what you got after you get what you want. See, some of y'all walking in subtraction instead of addiction. But while God is ready to multiply you, what are you giving in exchange? When you start giving things in exchange, what happens? This is what happens. You allow people of a low energy, of a low frequency, to bring you from the high energy of a high frequency down to their level. And when you start feeling confident about yourself, start getting into a place with God like you need to be, some stuff don't even get your attention anymore. Uh-oh, it dropped off. It dropped off. Some things don't even bother you anymore. Some things don't even get to you anymore. Come on, somebody's mad in here because you don't get the whistles anymore. You don't get the anymore. You don't get the yo's anymore. You don't get the hey, ho, yo. Well, you don't get that anymore. You ought to be glad that you don't get that anymore. Because most of that is games and tricks. But when you're really about your business, when you're really about doing something different, your potential changes. And after your potential changes, your vibes and your energy changes. And after all of that change, your atmospheres change. And then you realize, watch this, everybody, not because you're arrogant, but everybody don't deserve your attention. In your space and your time, because it's not respected. I know y'all ready to go. I'm getting ready to get you out of here. So what happens after that, when you're in the middle of transition, watch this. People exchange instead of growing. Because in the middle of your transition, one of the things that you should do is grow. There should be some growth in your life. Y'all pray with me. I'm coming to the end. There should be some growth in your life. There should be some growth. Now, everybody in here that have a baby, you already know your baby. You know, when you have a child, when the baby comes to it, actually when the baby comes out, most of the time the baby cries first. Right. They ain't no gaga goo goo. They ain't no dad or mama. There's none of that. No. That comes later on. But most of the time the baby cries. Right. After that, then they get a little age. Then they start trying to talk and verbalize things. And I'm not talking about in their speech is still cluttered. That's one thing I love, admire about some moms, because they know their child. And that baby can say, oh, yeah. She said she wants it. I said, how can you interpret that? I think that's what she said. How you know she said? You can interpret it. Yeah. Then after a while, they become 1, 2, 3 years old. Then their language, then their speech starts to become clear, where you can really understand what they want. Y'all agree with me? Well, why is it that in the kingdom, when God gives you another language, and you're supposed to be growing, why is it that we've been in the kingdom for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and we still have the same tongue language? Maybe because we don't have an original, maybe because we've been mimicking people. It should change from just shando. That's the beginning. That's the beginning stage. That's what you learn in the beginning stages. It should be it should be fluid now. You're a grown person, but you still Kawasaki. Yeah. See, it should change. You people got the same. You know why they have the same language? Because there's no growth. You know why there's no growth? Because they're not feeding the spirit. Whatever you feed, that is what will grow. Whatever you starve, that is what will die. That's why the Bible says in 1 Peter 2:2, it talks about as babes desire the sincere milk of the word and grow thereby. So you can always tell when people growing because the attitude changes. A prime example of growth is getting along. When you got people that don't get along, that's no growth in that area. People that bicker and argue all the time, they still elementary. They still babies. They still babies in their mindset. They argue and debate over stuff. Yeah, that's why couples don't grow. Yeah, because they spend so much time trying to figure out who got the most power, who knows the most, or who's going back and forth. Come on, trying to see who's the most stubbornness. Who's grown? Who had some growth? Who gonna say, you know, baby, let's stop this foolishness. Let's stop this foolishness. Matter of fact, let's go down to the beach. Don't wear no red dress. Put on your bikini. And all your rolls out. I got some butter here. Oh, I got butter. We're gonna put some honey butter on them rolls. No, but y'all want to stay in the house and y'all want to leave the house all day and don't answer the phone. You want to be stubborn. You want to talk when you get ready. Oh Lord. Come on, you want to be in the same house and brush shoulders. You want to let me get this. You want to ignore text messages. Because watch this, you know why? Because there's no growth. There's no growth. See, because the Bible says where there's envy, where there's malice, where there's debates and strife and stuff like that, there's strife, there's confusion, there's every evil work, there's jealousy. That means there's a lot of immaturity. Because when you got that, see what it's really saying is when you got that, nobody's getting anything done. Nothing is growing, nothing is moving. I'm through. This is the last one. I told you I was through. I'm not gonna lie, y'all finish. Yeah, as babes, because a baby, what that baby want? You'll know when they want that milk. Why do they want the milk? They need that milk because in their appetite, they know, the appetite already understand and know. They got to have that to grow. Yeah. See, some of you should be craving stuff to make you grow. Not just craving stuff to make you go. You should be craving stuff now to make you grow. Lord, give me what I need. to complete my life. Give me what you want me to have. Do you know? This is for about 5 people in here. I'm going. Sometimes do you know? Sometimes you put your life on hold just to please other people. Don't do that another day in your life. You put your life on hold just to please other people. Holy Spirit told me something in the beginning of 2020. He said, I don't want you really putting your life on hold anymore, just because the church is not at a place. You told them to shift when you shift. You told them to stay connected to you and go up when you go up. So you got to stop feeling sorry for stuff like that. He said, I really want to bless you. You can't be offended by God blessing you because other people don't want to come up. Look at your neighbor and say, God trying to bless you on another level. Stop being offended by people that are not putting things in the rightful place so they can grow. Can I throw this in here? Let me throw this in here. Stay away from people that say they don't never need nobody. They don't ever want nobody. I don't want nobody. I don't want no man. Oh, what you want, a woman? And then grown people, I gotta say this, grown people don't play with toys. You can't play with toys all your life. You ought to want a man or a woman. You ought to want to grow up. Stop being bitter. See, in the middle of transition, did Pastor just really say that? Go back and check. Go back and look at the video. I got time to repeat it. Go. Yeah, grow up. Look at your name. So you got to grow up because watch this. See, what you're doing and how you're reacting to certain things can stunt your growth, and you don't need another setback. You don't need to be trying to go backwards right now. You're trying to come up. You're trying to go forward. You're trying to prosper. You're trying to be successful. You're trying to be greater than you were the last time. So this brings me to my last point, number 7. And Hebrews 6:1, it starts talking about, watch this, let us move on to perfection. You know, some people don't want to move on to perfection. Now, what they were talking about in that particular text, let's stop arguing over laying on hands and stop arguing about baptism. What they were doing, they started debating about being baptized with water. They started debating about covenants. They started debating about laying on of hands and charging people to preach the gospel. And they said, wait a minute, let's forget all of that. That's stuff that we're supposed to learn in the beginning stages. Let's move on to perfection. Let's do something different. Let's move on to excellence. Let's stop thinking we're doing something big because we drive 35 minutes to go to Myrtle Beach. Let's go to Acapulco. Let's go to Bora Bora. They don't want to go nowhere over here. We're going to leave. Everybody going to be able to travel on my private jet. They don't want to go there. They want to go to Chatham. They're trying to give them a pole and a hook, go to the lake. We're trying to go somewhere where we don't see nobody we know. So I'm get out of the city, no, let's get out of the state. Let's go out of the country. You know what I'm talking about. We're going to change our atmosphere. And we're going to change our level of expectation and, watch this, excellence. How do I do that, prophet? And I'm at my last place. How do I do that? I do that first, and I start by changing my mind. That's how you know y'all not going to shift. The Lord said today, if you can change your mind, I'll change your place. If you can change your mind, I'll change your atmosphere. If you can change your mind, I'll do it before Friday. I'll do it before the day is over. I'll do it before Wednesday. If you can change your mind, watch it, I'll approve you. Next application you fill out, it's already been approved. You can change, I'll change your job, I'll change your, if you change your mind, everything else will change. Tell somebody if you change your mind, they're going to change everything else. Some of you have been held up by your mind. But God said, I don't want you to be held up by your mind anymore. You got to start thinking on things that are true. Start thinking on things that are honest. Start thinking on things that are a good report. If it be any virtue, the Bible says if it be any praise, think on these things. Some of you need to start thinking highly love yourself. You got a low self-esteem that wants to keep you in a low, dark dungeon, locked up in a room by yourself, and make you feel like nobody cares about you. But I heard God say, change your mind, and I change your feelings. Change your mind, and I change your heart. Change your mind, and I change your status. Change your mind, and I change the way you see it. God said today, if you start getting in your mind, I start bringing it before you. If you get it in your mind, I start manifesting things that you thought would never happen. The Bible said, whatever you think in your mind, that's who you are. Whatever you think in your mind, that's what you become. Don't let people change your mind. Don't let people get in your space. Don't even let them get close enough to change who you are. Change what God is doing. Change your life. Tell your neighbor that ain't gonna happen. Because I'm on my way to my next level. I'm on my way to my next place. I'm on my way to my next status. I'm on my way to my next breakthrough. I'm on my way to my next miracle. I'm on my way to my next everything. I'm on my way to prayer like never before. I'm on my way to my word. I'm just in transition, but in the middle of the night, things can change. Right in the middle of the night, doors can open. Right in the middle of the night, breakthroughs can happen. Right in the middle of the night, change can happen. God told me the other night when I was up, when y'all was sleeping in the wee hours of the morning, I set my sleep to be off on purpose because I wanted to stay up when different demons come on watch, because I was there to fight them when they was trying to take me out and get me out of place in this last ship, in this last night hour. I was warned against them and letting them know you got to take your hands off. You got to get up off of me. The blood of Jesus, bind you everywhere. Bind your hands. Bind your legs. Bind your spirits. Off of your mind. Off of your house. And you're not going to destroy what God has given me the bill. And God told me, He said, son, and I said, yeah. He said, doors open at midnight. And I want to let somebody know, right in your midnight hour, God's getting ready to come through when you least expect it. Right in your midnight hour, God's getting ready to break open the doors when you least expect it. And right in your midnight hour, God's getting ready to bless you in the middle of your trouble, in the middle of your trial, right in your midnight hour. God told me to let you know that you're next in line for a breakthrough. Who am I preaching to in here? You got to get over your past and whatever it was, it just was what it is. But now, behold, I shall do a new thing, and it shall spring forth. I need everybody here that's ready for the new thing to start waving your hands, start stomping your feet, start letting the devil know you wanted to cut me off, you tried to bind me up, but I'm on my way to my new, I'm on my way to my greater, I'm on my way to my next, I'm on my way to my now, and no way from the get shall be able to prosper. I don't care what it is, it's getting ready to fall. I don't care what they did, it's getting ready to fall. I don't care what they said, it's getting ready to fall. If you believe it, clap your hands to me. Clap your hands in here. Come on, clap your hands. I need everybody here. So let the devil know that you're still alive. I need everybody here to let the devil know you could have lost your praise, but I still got it. I need everybody here to let the devil know when he want to shut you up, you get louder. When he want to shut you down, you stand up. When he want to cut you off, you grow back. When he want to get rid of you, you show back up. Because greater is he that's on the inside of me than he that is in the world. Say it, nigga. You ain't seen nothing yet. You get ready to live your best life in the next few days. You ain't seen nothing yet. No money, no money. It's coming your way. You ain't seen nothing yet. The keys already been dropped in your hands. You ain't seen nothing. For 5 people that will run. Now, I'm not talking you got bad feet. You won't believe that. Leave your feet, stay still. But for 5 people that will run, the Holy Spirit just told me to tell you in your run, he said, by the time you stop, the Lord said to tell you that what you got the last time is not going to be able to compare what you get ready to get this time. I prophesy miracles to everybody that's running. I prophesy miracles. I prophesy miracles. I prophesy miracles. I prophesy miracles. And I heard the Lord say, when you're running, I don't know what happened to you the last time, but God said, I'm going to make it all up to you. But better than you that was praising God, God said, get ready because you're about to walk into the new house. Y'all ain't coming no way. Come on, y'all ain't crazy.